Part 3. Section A. Program Development and Delivery. Read with Area 1 in copper.
Section A, the program development and delivery. So this has to be read with Area 1 in copper. I go now, it's more important. So when you reach PEO, I just highlight PEO additional requirement. Because when you talk about PEO 1.1.1, 1.1.2 dalam COPPA, you have to comply lah. And also you have to review PEO in 7.1.6. So those are the relevant standard dalam COPPA. So now, what is further prescribed here? In this program standard, it says that HEP must ensure PEO and National Education Philosophy competencies and the PEO and PLO statement are properly aligned. You cannot ensure properly aligned. So how you do it? You do a workshop, do a mapping, whether aligned or not. Right? If it is not aligned, you already failed this part. Right? So you have to do improvement on that. Okay? You must perform a mapping. Ia dah cakap lah. You kena perform a mapping. Kenapa? In COPPA tak kata you kena buat mapping. Right? So when the auditor go there, you start to argue with auditors. So you show them a mapping. They say, look, my PEO dengan falsafah pendidikan negara align. Country wants you to produce this kind of manusia, but you produce different kind, they tak align. It does not align with the Akta Pendidikan Negara yang saya tunjukkan tadi. Right. So you see, there are 3 national education philosophy and competency. In this program standard, we give you suggestion that these are the PO and they are aligned. And this in PLO, they are aligned. These are the example only that we put in program standard. So you start to ask whether, oh, universiti saya nak ada 4 PEO, 5 PEO, boleh? Tambahlah, you add in. Alright, boleh lah kita campur adukkan PEO 1, 2, 3, boleh. But you have to explain every time when there is accreditation. And can it align with the program standard punya requirement? So at the end, ikut ni, and you tambah, if you need a PEO for your university, additional one, you letaklah PEO 5. Okay, can I have 9 PLO? My answer is can. But how can you show it align? Boleh, it can be shown in a very complicated table. Okay, the easier way is you align with this. And if you want to have additional 1 or 2 PLO, you put PLO 12, PLO 13. So that align help when we do the accreditation to verification, we just see whether the table PLO 1 to 11 comply or not. Right. So you can have any institutional PLO. These are the PLO required by MQF. You can do over and above. Right. So these are examples only to all of you. Okay, next we talk about, we suggest for PLO, tapi ayat tu dah cakap lah in English. Flexibility is further describing the suggested PEO segment, or you determine any additional PEO remains with the HEP. Okay. Another one, okay, in COPPA didn't say, PEO must be available to the stakeholders. PEO must be made available to stakeholders, means your PEO must be published on the website. Allied Health Program has a lot of stakeholders outside there. Persatuan lah, SPA, JPA, the recruitment people. They just want to see whether the CV hantar by your student sesuai atau tidak. So your PEO is telling the people what kind of graduates or product that you are producing. The PEO must be made available to the stakeholders because that is for the benefit of general. Ini jadi wajib, right? PEO must be periodically reviewed and monitored. Clearly state. PEO kena review, bincang dengan industry partner. Okay ke? Is this Allied Health yang sesuai I produce from my institution to you? Are they okay? Are they functioning well in your institution? Do they meet your expectation, etc.? Right. So those are the things that you have to do. And compliance focus is, these are the soalan lah. Okay, I dah bocor soalan sini. When audit comes, these are the soalan. They are going to ask you. Right. So just so you can refer to guidelines to good practices for GGP, PPD lah, PDD. So that is the one. And also, some of you might not be clear what is PEO. Is a broad statement of the students, what kind of students that you produce after they graduated, right? So already here, some guidelines for you, and some of the compliance focus on additional to the COPPA, right? COPPA already have their requirements that you need to fulfill. But for this program standard, we will focus also on top of COPPA on the green, the blue boxes. The green box means some further explanation. Blue box here, what we will be looking at specifically for the program standard. All right. So I hope that you understand. And you must demonstrate constructive alignment of PLO, CLO, incorporate VB, ESD competency in CLO. Already clearly stated in the standard. So you have to, when you design, you follow the PEO, PLO statement. You must incorporate the value-based education ataupun the core values, and what are the ESD, education for sustain, or we call the sustainable competency, okay, in your CLO. So we suggest 11 PLO, okay, based on MQF, learning outcome cluster, and also we mentioned here again, if you want to have 11, 12 PLO, 13 PLO, up to you. Okay, up to you. Okay, the sequence is easier for you to follow our sequence 1 to 11. Then any additional you put 12, 13, 14. Okay, because the allied health professionals will be looking at only PL 1, 11, or focusing on 11 to 1 to 11. 12, 13 are icing on the cake. All right. PLO must be available to stakeholders again, and it must be what they call periodically reviewed and monitored. Okay. Dinyatakan dengan jelas. So you just cannot run away with those process, or we call the review process and monitoring process. And our compliance focus will be on the same thing. Basically, the same process. How are PLO written, to whom you make available for, and who are the stakeholders, etc. How do you review, etc. Okay, so those are the things that when you form your program standard, program review committee, you have to emphasize those things. Okay, next, Alia, you tak bergerak. We go to, okay, in this program standard, we emphasize on 3 things which are important early in at the beginning of the program standard, where you must perform module monitoring at the end of semester. We make it compulsory. It was a part of CQI in 7.1 something, but now it's clearly stated that at the end of every semester, you have to sit down together and have to review how are the modules or the courses performed by the students, so that you can take immediate action when you offer the second semester or the second academic year. You must perform module monitoring, and you at the end of 1 year, you must perform a program monitoring at the end of academic year, whether the students are okay, what are the things that need what they call enrichment or remediation, right? If they are not okay, can we allow them to go for clinical practice? So those are the things that you have to perform, okay? Because we are producing allied health practitioners. And of course, we put in here also, you must identify the gap. That means the compliance focus will be looking at what is the mechanism for module program review, how are they monitored, what are the instruments used to monitor, how is the data used for CQI for the following semester and year, and are the CQI actions approved and traceable. Okay. So those are probably you can refer to guideline to good practices for management review, and also for monitoring and reviewing of the program. Okay, so these 4 things are stated in, and the review must maintain the records. Right? The monitoring process must maintain the record. What we found out in JTC is, when you go to the university, a lot of description on what have done. At the end of the day, there's no physical record or any online record on the review done. It is only by verbally say they have done it, right? So we discussed with MQA, and I think Wan Asma, our expert, our consultant from MQA, say if that is the case, then you explicitly written in the program standard, right? So we have to maintain the record of the monitoring. All right, you must perform curriculum review periodically, and in the program standard we put 2 to 5 years. So we have questions from you, 2 to 5 years. How to determine? Okay, we put 2 to 5 years simply because in the program standard there is a master program that lasts for 1 year. So if I review after 2 cohorts, so after 2 years they review. Okay, because master program is more what they call probably more specific on a specific field and advance and change fast. 3 years, probably after 3 years or 4 years for a diploma program, which is offered in a duration of 3 years. Probably 4 or 5 years for a bachelor degree, which is offered in a duration of 4 years. So basically, it's after a cycle, you have to review whether this is a what we call a comprehensive review. You can have annual review to do minor update here and there, and or even semester module review. Okay, you can do minor changes, but the program has to be refreshed. Okay, the whole thing after 3 to 5 years, or for undergraduate probably 4 or 5 years. Okay, again you have to have the policies. All right. Now I just want to guide you to the there is a circular from MQA on penetapan dasar baru perubahan kurikulum MQA, where I just want to highlight you that it might not apply at this stage for allied health professional course. Because in this MQA circulation, it says apa-apa perubahan you endorse the University Senate lah. Except you change the name, change the tahun, change the year, change the what you call the NEC, then you have to send to MQA. All right. So any changes, any curriculum review has to. I think the Majlis will send a circulation that you probably have to inform the Majlis. So it's yet to be decided. I just want to inform you that still follow the old practice where any changes, any review has to be sent to Majlis for endorsement. And if Majlis thinks that it needs a re-evaluation, then the due process will be conducted. All right. Okay, so next I think we go to another part on additional requirement. Okay, this is also a problem most of the time when we sit in the JTC talking about accreditation. There's no credit exemption policy. There's no credit transfer policy established by the university. So how to? So for the benefit of the what I call for the HEP, Majlis may at this stage mungkin just require you to give additional, tapi tak pay you. Okay, we don't pay you. But there is a problem also. Therefore, in the standard we put, there must be a mechanism and the criteria for flexible learning pathway. You take students through appel, or you certify students through appel process. So what are the mechanism and criteria, etc. So you have to refer to the kompilasi dasar jaminan kualiti as well for general requirement. You cannot do on your own. But this dasar, KPT on what we call credit transfer, horizontal, vertical, etc. I just get you some examples here for you to know. Okay, so the compliance audit again will focus on credit exemption and credit transfer conducted. How are they documented? Are they made retrievable, etc. Okay, so there is another requirement. Program standard analyze the complexity of the program in HEP, historical, strategic, program sustainability factor. Macam-macam lah. Okay? So you see, one university comes with different problems, they have different problems, etc. Okay, so we acknowledge those in. Okay. That is why we stated that although academic programs are conventionally offered through conventional mode, the program standard takes into account flexibility and recognition of diversity to facilitate the creative and innovative growth of future medical and health science education. So kita kata, the HCPs they intend to offer a program in a non-conventional mode. Okay, must adhere to the specific requirement and guidelines stipulated by Malaysia Allied Health Professional Council. You nak offer macam-macam lah. You have to follow the specific guidelines by us, some by MQA, but adopted by Malaysia Allied Health Professional Council. Right. Conventionally, at this stage, most of the universities ataupun IPT are offering through conventional mode. Right. So you can have a blend of different modes, but we facilitate those processes again. Single major is a norm. We also welcome major minor. Okay, in some program, it's up to you to design. But if you offer major minor, major specialization, you must meet the requirements, the 25% rules, right? And these are not new rules. These are the requirements by KPT. If you offer a major minor, you want to major in forensic science, but minor in something, or you want a major specialization, major in biology, specialization in microbiology, for example. You must meet those things. Or you want to offer double major. Double major, for example, major is double major. First major is OSH. Second major is environmental health. You can, okay, as long as you comply with the body of knowledge that we have. So it's up to you to offer. Okay. So there is a existing program offer under what I call 2013 has got no body of knowledge established. Okay. So it shall now be guided by the program standard here. All right. So the compliance focus will be how are the components arranged and made. If you offer major minor, or major specialization or major, how are the components arranged and made? Components being the body of knowledge. How are they made? Okay. Do the respective components comply with the minimum graduating credit required by us? Okay, so HCP can think different way, because we know, especially IPTS, you have to be very innovative compared to IPTA, which might offer a single major and elective, right? To be competitive, and even now, we think there's a blend or blurring of disciplines, as I mentioned. You might have to major in biomedical science and minor in informative technology. So those are the things that we allow you to do it, okay, as long as you comply with the body of knowledge and the minimum graduating credit. All right. You shall follow now. Okay, we put in as a standard way, you shall follow the Tata Cara Penamaan program. We put this in, okay, because we have all sorts of different programs. We do not follow things that confuse the council members, confuse the other stakeholders who want to recruit the students. Okay, so for example, historically, for example, kita buat bachelor in science then bracket, bachelor in science then bracket forensic science, bachelor in science bracket audiology, bachelor in science bracket dietetic. So that the way that we used to have during my first time in university now has to be slightly adjusted to Tata Cara Penamaan yang baru, so that people can understand. Those time your institution understand is okay, but now the users of the degree are by many people. So you shall follow the way as prescribed in Tata Cara Penamaan degree oleh KPT. All right. Okay, whether you should have honors or not, it's up to you. But in Malaysia, you don't need to prescribe the word honors, right? It's already stated here. Whether if 4 years undergraduate program, we do not use the system honors, right? So it's pilihan, up to you again. If you want to really make the stakeholders understand, then you put bachelor in health science in nutrition with honors. All right. Okay, so appropriate credit hour. This is also something that I want to direct your attention to this slide. Ensure appropriate credit hours to cover the suggested body of knowledge. Okay, and it can be in a standalone course or embedded within broader course content in a few courses. Ataupun you boleh itu panggil consolidated. But you must use proper course title. So I put the note there. Apa maksud BOK? The BOK we use here is not the name of the course. BOK can be covered by one or more courses. Itu panggil segregated, depending on the curriculum design. But you jangan design shop sendiri lah. HB shall benchmark best practice, or you involve expert in curriculum design and demonstrate adequacy. As I say, flexibility is given to you, autonomy to you, but accountability is also on your shoulder. Alright. So, adakah wajib kita menawarkan khusus suatu program seperti yang terkandung dalam badan pengetahuan atau body of knowledge? Ini FAQ FAQ from here, yes. If we say there is body of knowledge that you have to cover, you have to somehow, okay, you can cover. You have to cover. Alright. Okay, so the compliance focus will be, is the suggested BOK covered by suitable cost and appropriate? I think more importantly is appropriate. HCP can demonstrate in a table who are the stakeholders or subject matter experts or education experts that you consulted to tell you that the program is sufficient. We need a third party, or in COPPA we call external examiner, okay, to come, or external advisor to come, or industry advisor to look at your LI, etc. So those are the people that you have to involve. Okay? It's not by yourself, but also by various stakeholders as required by COPPA. So I give you an example here. So if you go to section C, this is the required standard for forensic science. So forensic science, we need at least 36 academic load, or we call in NQA, we call credit units for fundamental modules and 64 for professional modules. Okay, the rest you top up in optional modules or in fundamental modules or in Y or professional modules to get 120. So you see, 120 is a accumulation or the sum of these three components. And here we put 0 because if you top up here and here, you don't want to offer any optional module, it's up to you. So this is a flexibility. If you want to put 10 here, it's okay, up to you. So this is why we don't put numbers. When we come to the compliance audit, we want to see, you have to show to us that you have 36 credit hours that covers in different modules to cover the green area, the fundamental modules. All right. And you have 64, at least minimum 64 to cover the purple area. The purple means the what we call the professional modules and any additional modules. So additional modules is not the main focus of the audit compliance or to the program standard. Okay, these are the icing on the cake for you to shape the students to form what is being prescribed in your PEO. All right. Okay, now another question is compulsory module. Compulsory module are MPU tambah kursus-kursus yang disyaratkan oleh universiti. It belongs to a different category. So we will not check on this because there is a requirement by DASA. So some private university, they offer 8 MPU. Okay, 8 unit. So at the end, you will get 128 for your forensic science. In my institution, the compulsory unit ialah 8 MPU tambah 7 bahasa. Because my institution want to focus on the bahasa, the both languages. So my compulsory module will be 15. 15 tambah 120, 135 untuk graduate. Alright. So this is, I hope this explains well. This explains well. You have to look at it. Okay, this number, where do we get this number from? 36 and 64. It is through a simulated workshop that we have. Okay, simulated. Kita kata contoh anatomy, physiology, minimum kena ada student load is 3. So when we sum up this body of knowledge, we get 36. And we sum up this professional module, okay, based on best expert judgment, we get 64. So you may offer 65, 66, 67, 70. Here 36, you may offer 37, 38, 30, 39. It's depending on your course design. But we want to verify you have minimum of 36, you have minimum of 64. Okay, and what are the optional modules that support the students? But the compliance is on these numbers, 36 and 64. Okay, so I further describe a little bit. Okay, so we have in this simulation, because in my field, I just give you some examples. If we have institution A, University A, or University number ABC, all right, this is a suggested body of knowledge dalam huruf kecil nama am, Okay, University A, they offer anatomy and physiology is offered through or covered through satu kursus di University ABC dinamakan Human Structure and Function, and the load is 4 credits. Right. So this is University A. University B, they design differently. Dia letak human body and structure. Human body structure 3 unit. Human body function 3 unit. 6. Right. Okay, you start to ask, kenapa? They have their reason. You listen to their reason. All right. So same thing with biochemistry and genetics. This University A choose to gabung kursus biokimia dan genetik 4 kredit. University ini dia offer asing-asing. Biochemistry for health sciences 3 kredit. Genetic fundamentals 2 kredit. All right. They usually with their experts and also consultation things that the students from their program with the students is sufficiently having the knowledge of this body of knowledge on anatomy and also biokimia, biochemistry and genetics. All right, you can see that now the flexibility is given to you to design, not only taking into consideration the need of the student, but also the general bigger strategic arrangement of the institution. All right, based on experts, based on benchmarking. All right, so now University A kalau kita total up, dia kata 38 units to cover the body of knowledge. University B has got 37, minimally cover lah what we needed for 36. All right, so now when we do accreditation, the expert must assess whether these are, in your opinion, sufficiently to produce the student where they desire, as stated in their PEO and PLO and CLO. All right, so basically this is the flexibility why BOK is needed for you. All right, examples only. Then another key thing is assessor must be competent and he or she must be the expert in the field, or else you cannot judge. Okay, so I think kata nama umum, BOK is kata nama umum, is not the nama khas. It is not similar to the name of the course. So I give probably some more example. Okay, so this one to under the eyes of Majlis cukup. Okay, cukup credit, comply with 36 yang kita nak. Okay, this is how it works. Okay, now the yellow one is very important, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, although it's already 10 to 53. HCP shall demonstrate the suggested BOK is adequately covered based on evidence such as expert input, feedback, survey, or benchmarking atau guna standard textbook, etc. Okay, HCP shall demonstrate appropriateness plus adequacy. Itu audit biasa. Memang we will see whether it's appropriate, whether it's adequate. And kita tambah di sini, HCP is accountable for any non-compliance. You convince the assessor that look, it is okay based on your system. Understand? SCP should not come and consult the majlis. Majlis will give jatuh hukum. Kita tak memberi nasihat. Okay. And I put a special note also because some of you might be the assessor here. Some of you. Okay. Assessor, one of the weaknesses of assessor is too helpful. Terlalu ingin menolong. Okay. Assessor shall not dictate or impose the practice of his or her institution to the auditees. Okay. Assessor must holistically look at the entire program design and the course content across all courses, whether it's a standalone courses ataupun segregated course ataupun consolidated courses. Okay, you have to look at that. You cannot come and look at, oh, universiti saya buat 4, you 3 tak comply lah macam ni. No, that shouldn't be the assessor job. All right, it is a job of HEP to demonstrate that 3 units for me in anatomy is enough for my students. Okay, based on what? Expert in input, you punya external examiner kata okay, external advisor kata okay, student feedback kata okay, industry training, what you call the employer say, your student has got enough knowledge in anatomy. All right, so those are the things that we give the anatomy for you to design. All right, I give an example here. Probably just a simulated example, a clearer one. As I said, HEP shall demonstrate, then expert then verify. Okay, so this is why consultation atau benchmarking is important. So our body of knowledge, let's say in forensic science, kalau pergi tengok lah, has got physical evidence. This one, the purple one, is it purple or pink? The purple pink. Okay. Physical evidence is nama huruf Okay. In my institution, we offer a course called GTF 219 Physical Evidence, and it is 3 credit and a standalone course. So physical evidence is covered by a single course to cover this body of knowledge explicitly. So this is a standalone course. This is how I design. You might have different way of to design the course. Okay, then you look at the body of knowledge in green. Criminology and forensic psychology. Okay, so this is one of body of knowledge in the program standard for forensic science. Okay, based on expert and also pengalaman in my institution and expert judgment and also expert input, we put it in 2 courses. We offer in 2 courses. One is forensic psychology, 2 credit, criminology, 2 credit. And this one is segregated. For this body of knowledge, we segregate it into two distinct components. Okay, in multiple courses, in 2 courses, with each course responsible for specific knowledge area. So criminology 1 kursus, forensic psychology 1 kursus. Okay, you can offer 1 kursus in criminology and forensic psychology combined, but we choose it at my institution. I choose to have segregated to segregate it. All right, another example. Probably you come to brown. I think this is a light brown. Okay, in my program standard, it has got investigative technique and expert communication in forensic practice. It's important. It's knowledge that the student of forensic science can survive in court. Okay, another knowledge area of knowledge is criminal law. What we do in my institution, we combine this. And the name is called Law, Evidence Presentation and Quality Assurance. Okay. And this course is 4 credit. And it is consolidated, okay? Consolidating 2 bodies of knowledge into 1 course. And the course, therefore, has a higher academic load. So, I think another example is I probably just won't go through the rest, but again, as I told you, there are many ways for you, but the key is you have to demonstrate that your program design covers the body of knowledge. So that is why there's no room for the auditors to say, look, ini tak cukup, itu tak cukup. The auditor can only verify whether it's appropriate or sufficient and give what they call the suggestion for CQI. All right, so these are important. Therefore, I think checklist is very important during course design. Yeah. All right. So I think another part is we put progress. The map of the marking scheme is important. Itu juga we put in the standard where you must establish a progression map atau study scheme stating the credit hours in each duration of study. Kena masukkan, right? This to avoid confusion on 20 credit ke per semester ke 25 ke. We know this has become a problem also in JPC where you see is offering 25 credits in one semester or maybe only 5 credit in one semester. Caca mamba susah, yeah. So we request the institution to come up with your progress map atau study scheme. So you can show that in this table. So up to you to show. So I choose to show this way. Even you look at this the purple one. So we have, my course has got 8 semesters, and these are the academic load. 18, 18, 20, 20, 20, 20, 12, 8. So this is how I distribute my academic load, and you can see I have analytical chemistry 1 in semester 2, analytical chemistry 2 in semester 4. You can see there's a progression. There's a progression that you learn yang simple dulu kemudian advance. Theory dulu sebelum amali. You learn concrete sebelum abstract. You learn theory sebelum practical. So this is the progression to see for my case organic chemistry 1, 2, 3. So we don't learn difficult one before the easy one. So this is how we do it. Okay, you show this to see the appropriateness of the course design. All right. Of course, you can benchmark against among your institution who are offering almost a similar one. Right. So curriculum delivery, I just want to link you. The SAP shall refer to the policies. You shall refer to the policies. Ada berapa minggu, how many weeks in a year that you can offer, how many semester you can offer, how many credit you can offer. Right. So those are the policies, or those are the circulars that we have got. So same thing when you decide whether it's 43 weeks or 45 weeks. So we have got issues where you offer longer weeks. But at the end of the day, Majlis cannot ignore dasar. Okay? Some dasar say pelaksanaan latihan industri boleh exceed 2 minggu. That means up to 45 weeks. You tambah 2 minggu for latihan industri or mengendalikan peperiksaan atau OSCE is fine. But if you are teaching more than 45 weeks in a year, itu tak boleh. So we still have to follow with the circulars atau policies, right, ladies and gentlemen. It's nothing to do with the standard here, but already in the standard, I say you have to refer to the policies, regulations, and also other laws. All right. We also take note. Ladies and gentlemen, you have to read the note di bawah every section. Apa maksud clinical placement? Apa maksud professional placement? What is the duration and their academic load? For latihan industry, what does it mean? Okay, briefly macam ni. If the students placement, clinical placement, professional placement, community placement, they learned throughout the time when they go there. For example, audiology clinical placement 8 hours in the clinic. They are dealing with the patient, they are dealing with the consultants, 8 hours belajar tak berhenti. So therefore, we accumulate 1 credit equals to 40 hours because it's intensive learning. It's just like nursing student, they go to the ward, they practice for 8 hours. There's no room for them to sit down and do PK, tengok handset, ada, right? So therefore, it's solid, effective learning 8 hours for that duration. For that course, kita creditkan as 1 credit, 40 hours the students spent, they earn 1 credit. Okay, for industry training, the effective learning is about 50%. Therefore, untuk industry training is more relaxing. They just want to get to know the environment of working. Therefore, we still use the JPT's industry training 2 weeks equivalent to can earn 1 credit hours. So you have to define we will check your what you call table 4. What is the nature of that? Ataupun what is the course learning outcome? What are the activities of the student doing the clinical placement for 40 hours, 1 credit, 2 weeks, 1 credit? You have to be very careful on those things. All right. So same thing. Final year project we call research project. It come up with a research report. Okay. We do away with dissertation. We do away with thesis. But dissertation and thesis are used for master and PhD. Right. So these are the focus for compliance credit. Ladies and gentlemen, when you design SEMA curriculum, those are the things that we cannot langgar. Okay. I just share here. This one I tukarkan jadi kepada sisi perkongsian, because we also drag other things in for the benefit of you. All right. For clinical supervision, we have local preceptor and also clinical instructor. They are requirements for them. Okay. For example, for OT, we want local preceptor to have this qualification. We want clinical instruction to have this qualification. All right. Another part is, kita highlight sini, must have objective assessment method to ensure competency attainment. Okay. Previous issues when we perform audit is, pelajar pergi LI 10 unit, semua dapat A. It is indefensible for the institution to what it call to defend only verbally. Okay, so this is linked to public confidence, as I say. And pelajar you letak kat sana, lepas tu duduk cukup lulus clinical placement, tak boleh, right? So that is why clinical placement is the core for to gain a competency, clinical competency for allied health practitioner. You must have objective assessment methods, bukan bagi markah ABC ya. We want you to prove that objective assessment method to ensure that they're competent, right? So the competency, or that means that the course learning outcome must be properly assessed with rubrics. So this one already we put in the standard. Okay, next I think VSD, VEBE, ESD, you have to monitor. It must be reviewed and monitor juga, right? So I think the guidelines on value-based education you can follow. Malaysia Allied Health Council will not audit on your core values. Okay, but you have to determine why you have these core values. So you might want to follow the 6 core values proposed by MQF: dignity, justice, integrity, gratitude, courage, and altruism. Okay, my institution might choose differently. Okay, we choose quality, appropriateness, availability, etc. But they must be aligned. They must be aligned anyway. So you can have your own institution values aligned to what is required by MQF. All right. So I think this is a slide I already mentioned. MQF proposed 6 values. What is your HCP's values, and what are the policies? Okay, what are the policies? Okay, the box is there. You read the box. HCP have the autonomy to define their own core values. So you have to define your values. If you don't define, this is a non-compliance. So ladies and gentlemen, ensure you define your values and how are you going to integrate those in your teaching learning. This is for the new cohort. All right, I just show you an example. Any example probably we don't have enough time. I use for training. So you just can modify. I want to skip this. Okay, and at the end of the day, this is also an example. Just don't follow. I use this for training session. Okay, in your course, you have to probably demonstrate which course has got the value embedded or integrated or infused, up to you. So what are the values? What are the courses? And how are they aligned? How are they contribute to PLO? I think this is on NKF. You should have known this. I shouldn't explain more here because this is a part of general requirement for all academic programs. All right. Okay, ESD, why it matters? I think, ladies and gentlemen, you have to link it to health. The global sustainable agenda, you have to link to health. And because health professionals have leading roles to play in addressing climate change. Okay, so you have the the reference here. And for example, this is how I map my program to the SDG 17 SDGs. This is how I'm going to contribute. So my program will contribute a lot on good health and well-being and quality education as the main thematic focus of my program. And other SDG 1, 12, 1, 2, 5, 6, 10, 14, 15, 16, 17 will be contributed through my courses, my core courses. And those cannot be contributed will have to be covered through co-curriculum or any school activity to support those things. So basically this is the idea. This is the whole idea that we have. So we think that university have already aligned this to you, not only for Allied Health. I think the university have to align this for the practice of integrating ESD to support the PLO. So this is a way that an example that we can align the ESD competency to PLO, right? So the focus is what are the identified ESD competencies. I think MQA says it is free for you to mix and match, but by design. Okay, so at the end of the day, probably this is what I use for my faculty, for my school. I will map only knowledge and understanding to anticipatory competency and system thinking, so that it will be more systematic for my program. Okay? So I design this, I decide this, and I explain why this is the reason to the auditors. Okay? Or else akan huru-hara if semua pencara masing-masing mix and match freely. So this is why the importance of curriculum design, okay, to show to the auditor. So if I go and audit your program, I would want to ask you, how do you determine that the ESD competencies are addressed? And what is the way? How are they met? So this is probably an example, and this is of course a different training, and I hope the institution has already done the training on this. And what are the attributes to show that my student has got system thinking competencies? So I chose some of the attributes for my school. And student, the 4 attributes, they say, recognize, understand relationship, analyze complex system, consider how a system considers whatever, and deal with manage uncertainty. These are the sub-attributes that we will be used to measure if the student has got system thinking competency. So this is for my program. So we want to see what is your program's attribute to show that the student has got critical thinking competency or they have the normative competency. All right, so basically I think this is your school's institution syllabus decision. I shouldn't cover here, but I just want to tell you that when we do verification, we want to verify those as well. All right, so this is an example that we use for my school, where we have the course number 1, number 2, number 3, and those are the competency covered by the course. So it is again a mapping that you use for a curriculum, semakkan curriculum and design. Right? There are many ways for you to do it. That's why I hate to share here, because when I share, people to ask, how do you use this? So it's free, up to you, as long as you have a mechanism to show that it is what you call systematically designed, by design, not by chance. Alright, so I letak satu contoh nasi lemak. I think I use this for training lah. Okay, so when we look at the course, we audit. Okay, so you look at my course. I said the course support value altruism. Okay, di mana you letak? So it's already explicitly explained in course learning outcome 2. And do this course support SDG? Yes, and this is addressed in course learning outcome 4, where we have the SDG 12 as the focus, and the competency is strategic thinking. Okay, if you look at course learning outcome 4, strategic thinking is the competency, sustainable competency, and dia punya emphasize of the SDG is emphasizing on the sustainable and responsible production, supporting SDG 12. So in my kursus nasi lemak, This kursus nasi lemak has got a course learning outcome 2 yang where I have already stressed or highlighted the importance of nilai. Nilai here, considering the safe consumption of customers. In brief means altruism. Kena fikir pasal orang lain. So basically, this is the nilai. So this is just an example. You, of course, I don't want you to follow this but this is just for demonstration purposes for you to understand. All right. So at the end of the day, I think SCP shall do a mapping. Shall do a mapping, and I'll show you later on. We do a mapping on the compliance. So this is part A only. I'm going to finish it. AI shall be incorporated in curriculum. Okay, and of course we show you why AI is important already in slides. And just to further to convince you why AI is already in front of you. And this, if you are not a practitioner in allied health setting, these are the things, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, we might be disconnected from what is actually happening in the clinics or in the clinic setting or in the industry. Okay, these are the things that we give an example. And if this is the real thing happening in university training, must address this. All right. And of course, by understanding AI technology, including global trends and regulatory constraints, healthcare professional can drive decision making, whatever. This is just to convince you that AI is important, and ini berkaitan dengan entrepreneurship, right? Entrepreneurship. So this is why our students and practitioners shall gain knowledge to invest in AI projects. Therefore, ini tak boleh cakap macam tu, mesti by design dalam standard. In the standard kena masukkan kursus-kursus AI. Okay, alright. And we should have mengajar ChatGPT, penggunaan DeepSeek, etc. Okay? But some of us still, tak boleh guna ChatGPT. But there is already a tool in life. So if we are not telling the students how can they call ourselves as the what we call the advanced user of technology in allied health, right? So I think IPE kena masukkanlah interprofessional education to foster communication, collaboration, problem solving, decision making, and professionalism. And this is probably a requirement, especially in medical, nursing, by the WHO as well, right? So I just want to explain a little bit. The idea of IPE kursus ini, this is something new yang that we have to introduce, is to produce kanan sekali, collaborative practice ready healthcare workforce. Collaborative practice ready health workforce. A human being who can work with different professions to solve a common case in healthcare. So basically, this is the whole idea of interprofessional health education. So university can use your innovative thinking untuk tawarkan kursus satu unit like co-curriculum, but they have to do a case study untuk clinical case study to solve it. It's a big clinical problem solving case. Okay, the idea is for them to work together to understand each other's role. Okay, all right. So you have to enable this in your training. Yeah. So the big idea is, if you look at the bigger picture, right? At the end of the day, is we produce the collaborative practice ready healthcare workforce di sini, like health workforce. Bila mereka masuk hospital atau healthcare setting, they work with other people, and at the end of the day is the green box on top is improve health outcomes. Selari dengan kita punya a white paper on health, okay, iaitu penyakit di prevent ni maksudnya dicegah, okay, lebih awal daripada dirawati. Okay, so basically we want to have a strengthened healthcare system. So if a strengthened healthcare system akan jadi omong-omong kosong if our workers are not trained to work together with other people.